Let us continue with the control word. Precision control sets the precision of the result. Precision, whether it should be short, long, or temporary. If precision control bits are giving the combination 0 0, single precision, 0 1, this is reserved for the higher versions, 1 0, double precision, and 1 1, extended precision, that is a temporary real format. Next, exception mask. So it determines whether the error indicated by the exception affects the error bit in the status register. If a logic 1 is placed in one of the exception control bits, the corresponding status bit is masked off. It means here these bits are used in order to mask the exceptions. Total 5 bits. 5 bits are used in order to control the 5 exceptions. Tag register. Tag register is used to indicate the contents of each register in the stack. So this is giving the status about the stack contents. Total there are 8 stack registers are there. So 2 bits are used for representing each of the registers. So 2 into 8, total 16 bit register is there. So 2 bits of each register gives the status. If 0 0, it means there is some valid value into any that register. So tag 0, this is regarding the register 0, 1, that is register 1, register 2, and up to register 7. So these total tag, it means these tagging bits are used for the respective registers, and these 2 bits gives the status about the status or indication about the contents of stack register. 0 0, that any valid value is there, 0 1 indicates 0, 1 0 contains some special value is there, and 1 1 indicates the empty value. Now let us see pin diagram of 8087. Even though the syllabus contents doesn't mention any contents regarding the pin diagram of 8087, but this is required in order to cover the interfacing of 8087 with the 8086. So this is a 40 pin diagram, dual in pack, and ceramic. This is a ceramic chip. So let us see the pin configuration about this. Signal descriptions of 8087. So following this slide covers the pins of 8087. So first, AD0 to AD15. These are the time multiplexed address and data lines which carry addresses during the first clock cycle and data from the second clock cycle onwards. Next, A19 to S6 or A16 to S3. These lines are time multiplexed address or status lines. It functions in similar way to corresponding pins of 8086, and the S6, S4 and S3 are permanently high while the S5 is permanently low. Next, BH, E bar and S7. During the first clock cycle, the BH, E bar and S7 is used to enable data onto the higher byte of 8086 data bus, and after that works as a status line S7. QS1 to QS0. So these are the Q status input signals which provide the status of instruction queue. INT. It is an interrupt signal which changes to high when unmasked exception has been received during the execution. Next, busy. It is an output signal which is high to indicates a busy state of CPU. Ready. It is an input signal used to inform coprocessor whether the bus is ready to receive data or not. Next, reset. It is an input signal used to reject the internal activities of the coprocessor and prepare it for the further execution whenever required by the CPU. Clock. The clock input provides the basic timings for the processor operation. VCC, it is power supply signal which requires plus 5 volt supply for the operation of the circuit. S0, S1 and S2 bar. So these are the status signals that provide the status of the operation which is used by the bus controller 8087 to generate memory and IO control signals. So these signals are active during the 4th clock cycle. So these combinations S0, S1 and S2 can generate 8 combinations, but out of that only few of the combinations are used. So first combination used is 101, which is used in order to generate a memory read cycle, and 110, this combination is used in order to memory writes operation, and 111 is used for the passive state, and remaining combinations are unused. Next, RQ0 to slash GT0 bar and RQ1 and GT1. So these are the request and grant signals used by the 8087 processor to gain the control of the bus from the host processor 8087, or it can be 8088 also for operand transfer. So whenever any memory or read or write cycle 8087 wanted to generate, during that cases this need to steal the system bus cycle. So during that period, these bits or these pins can be used in order to request for the bus and getting the grant from the host processor. So now after studying the pin diagram, let us move towards the interfacing of 8086 with the 8087. So this diagram is from the textbook, or here one more diagram can be preferably be used, or the both figures are same, simply the arrangement of ICs is different. So let us study about this figure. So here we can see QS0 and QS1. So these are used in order to give the Q status. Next, all the host processor 8086 and 8087 requires clock, reset and ready from the 8284 clock generator. So this one is responsible for generating or synchronizing both 8087 and 8086, as they are getting the clock signal from the same source. And here, as 8086 and 8087 multiprocessor system is there, it means that right now whatever configuration we are learning, this configuration is a maximum mode configuration, and hence 8088, this is acting as a bus controller, which is responsible for generating the control signals in order to perform any of the operation, that is a memory read, memory write, or upcode fetch, or instruction fetch, etc. Here the interrupt generated by 8087 is being transferred to the 8259 PIC, and this will in turn initiate or give signal regarding this to the INTR of 8086. So here status lines are passed to the 8288 in order to generate appropriate control signals for performing the operation, and here 8087 will be connected to the 8288 via the status lines. And here bus interfacing components, so these are required in order to pass the address and perform the appropriate operation, that is data bus and address bus. So here it can be a clock, latch will be there, and data transceivers will be there, and these bus interfacing components will be always controlled by the 8288, that is the bus controller, as we are right now in multiprocessor system. Let us see about the interfacing of it means theory regarding the 8086 interfacing with the 8087. As a co-processor, 8087 is connected to the 8086. 8086 operates in maximum mode. So MN/MX bar will be grounded. So in the first figure, this nowhere we mention about the MN/MX bar, but in the second figure, here we can see the MN/MX bar is connected to the logic 0. It means here we can see that right now system is into the maximum mode, and here status lines of 8087 and 8086 are connected to the bus controller, and this is generating the control signal. So we can refer to the either of the figure, no problem, both figures are logically same. Let us focus on the current figure. 8284 provides the common that clock reset ready signals, and 8282 are used to latch the address. 8286 are used as a data trans receivers. 8288 generates control signals using S2, S1 and S0 as input from the currently active processor. So anyone can be a bus master, that 8086 or 8087, and 8259 PIC is used to accept the interrupt from the 8087 and send it to the microprocessor. This interface is also called as coprocessor configuration. 8086 will be called as a host and 8087 as a coprocessor, as it cannot operate all by itself. Here instruction fetch should be always done from the 8086. 8087 cannot read the instructions or fetch the instruction from the memory. Programmer writes a homogeneous program which contains both 8086 as well as 8087 instructions, and only 8086 can fetch instructions, but these instructions also consist 8087 instructions. 8087 treats 808 instructions as no operation. It means instructions are passed to the both 8086 and 8087. Escape is used as a prefix for the 8087 instructions. When instruction with escape prefix, that which takes 5 bits, MSB bits, in order to indicate that this is the 8087 instruction and 8087 is activated. The escape instruction is fetched by the 8086 and 8087. Here, as 8086 detects that this is having the prefix escape, so this will ignore that, and 8087 will start decoding and execution of that instruction. If 8087 instruction has only an opcode, no operands, then 8087 will start execution, and 8086 will immediately move to its next instruction. But if instruction requires a memory operand, then 8086 will have to fetch the first word of the operand, as 8087 cannot calculate the physical address. So here in the architecture of 8086, there is a unit called physical address calculation, which converts effective addresses into physical address, 16-bit address to the 20-bit address, and address bus is of size 20 bits. This facility is not available with the 8087. So that's why 8087 cannot fetch the instructions. Only 8086 can fetch the instruction. So this, because of this, here this word will be captured by the 8087. It means here 8086 will have to fetch the first word of the operand, and remaining words, the large operand, can be fetched by the 8087. That first, if the address of first byte can be given, remaining bytes can be fetched to the next to that. That's why the first word need to be fetched by the 8086. Once 8087 gets this operand, it begins processing by marking the busy output high. So busy indicates that 8087 is executing any of the operation. This busy output is connected to the test input of the microprocessor. Now, if 8087 executes its instructions and 8086 moves ahead with its next instruction, hence multiprocessing takes place. During the execution, if 8086 needs a read-write more words from the memory, then it does so by stealing the burst cycles from the microprocessor in the following manner. First, request and grant of 8087 is connected to the request and grant of the microprocessor. 8087 gives active low request pulse. 8086 completes the current bus cycle and gives the grant pulse and enters the hold state. 8087 uses the shared bus to perform the data transfer with the memory, and 8087 gives the release pulse and returns the system bus back to the microprocessor. So this is how the bus stealing can be done. If 8086 requires the result of 8087 operation, it first executes a wait instruction. Wait makes microprocessor check the test bar pin. If the test pin is high, 8087 is busy, then a microprocessor enters wait state. It comes uh, on, out of it only when test bar is low. Test bar is low, it means 8087 is not busy and 8087 has finished its execution. Thus 8086 gets the correct result of 8087 operation. During the execution, if an exception occurs which is unmasked, 8087 interrupts the microprocessor. During the execution, if exception occurs which is unmasked, 8087 interrupts the microprocessor using end output pin through PIC 8259, and through which interrupt handling can be done by the 8086. And the last, the QS0 and QS1 lines are used by the 8087 to monitor the queue of 8086. 8087 needs to know when 8086 will decode the escape instructions, so it synchronizes its queue with the 8086 using QS0 and QS1 as 2 bits. There are 4 formats. If 00, no operation. If 01, 8087 compares 5 MSB with the escape code, and if 10, 8087 clears its queue, and if 11, if earlier comparison succeeds, 8087 fetches the subsequent bytes, else no operation. So this is the complete interprocess communication between 8086 and 8087 to perform the homogeneous system. So regarding this, here we complete all the points from the 7th chapter. If you are having the queries, you can pass in the comments. So thank you for watching this video.